Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video of this course, and in this video we are going to see variables in Java. So first of all, actually what is variable? A variable is a container which holds the value while the Java program is executed. In other words, variable is a name of reserved area allocated in memory. So let's say you have a number, it will be like 10,000, just assume that 10,000, and you want to do different operations on the value 10,000. Let's say you want to add 5,000 to it, you want to subtract 2,000 back from the value. So you have to keep the operation continuously. So instead of mentioning every time 10,000 10,000, you can give a name to the 10,000. Let's say my number. So my number is a variable which holds the value 10,000, and whatever the operation that you are performing with the 10,000, you can do the same operation with the variable name my number. So let's say my number plus 5,000 gives you 15,000, because now my number is 10,000. So there is the actual use of variable. It's like a placeholder for your value. There are actually different type of variables in Java. One is a local, instance, and static. So local variable, what are the variables which are defined within a method, that is called as local variable within method. Okay, and if you declare a variable outside the method but inside the class, that is called instance variable. That is mostly within class. So static variable, when you take the static variable, a memory will be created only for one time during the compilation. After that, there is no operations will be performed on the memory point. So let's say if we declare a variable and make it as a static, then Java compiler will assign a memory, and what are the operations which are performing, it will do the operation on the same memory. No memory reference will be created. There is the use of a static. And one more advantage of static is, if you want to access the static variable, you no need to create an object of the class. You can just call the static variable from any other class that is outside the class by using class name followed by static variable name. That we will discuss in a later chapter, but as of now, just understand that the memory for static variable, the memory reference will be created for only one time. So there are three types of variables in Java: local, instance, and static. So now let's move on to data types. So if you take about the data types, in real time we want to deal with multiple data. It may be number, it may be a large number, it may be a decimal digit, it may be a character, it may be a string. So in order to deal with all this kind of data, Java has 8 predefined data type, and that is called as primitive data type. Okay, so data types specify the different sizes and values that can be stored in the variable. There are two types of data types in Java, as I said, primitive data types and non-primitive data types. What are the primitive data types is Boolean. So Boolean is used to check the condition, and it returns only two things, true or false. Character is used to store a single character, and byte is used to deal with small set of integer that we will see very shortly in the next PPT. And short is also do the same thing, and float and double is doing operation on decimal digits. There is and this primitive data types are the building blocks of your Java program. So without the primitive data types, you cannot perform any operation, you cannot write a single program without primitive data type. So that's why we call it as a building block of Java program. And non-primitive data types. So apart from primitive data types, we do have a non-primitive data types, that is strings, classes, interface, and arrays. These are all comes under non-primitive data types. We will discuss what is class, interface, and arrays in the upcoming video, but just have an understand that these are all non-primitive data types. Okay, this is a data type range. So this byte, the memory allocation of byte in the Java compiler is just 1 byte, and it can deal with minus, that is negative 128 to 127. So whatever the numbers which falls within that, it can be taken care by byte data type. Every bit larger, let's say minus 32 768, or if you want to do an operation on this range, then you can use short. And this is integer, so I cannot able to read this one. So if your number is quite large, you can use integer most commonly, and most of the programmer will prefer integer than long, because long by 8 bytes there is more memory and it will take a lot of time to compile. So most programmers prefer integer because this is more than enough to do mathematical operation. And float and double, so the float is to deal with 6 to 7 decimal digits. So let's say you're dealing with a number which is under very high precision, then you can go for float, and you can go for double if you have a very high precision. If you want a 15 decimal digit, let's say 1.0.0.0, like that, a 15 decimal digit after decimal point, you can go for double. This is mainly used for very high precision, and you also have a note, have a look into the size of memory that was occupied by double. It was nearly 8 bytes it take. And character ranges from 0 to 65536. The purpose of a character is to do operation on an individual character. So each character has an ASCII value associated with it, and you can perform operation using that ASCII value or with the character that we will discuss shortly. And another one, data type, is a Boolean. So it will take less than a byte, 1 to 2 bytes, and the range is it can store only two values, that is true or false. So these are the data type available in Java. So there is all about variables. Let's see practically how to use variables. And if you're first time you're seeing this video, you have to install Eclipse as well as a Java on your machine. If you don't know how to install Eclipse or Java, just click on the icon that you're seeing right now. It will take you to the installation process. Complete the installation and come back to this video. So now we'll create a new project, that is a Maven project. So I selected the option use default workspace location. Click on next and go with default this op type -quick start. Click on next. So if you're doing this for a very first time, it will take a little bit of time. And in artifact ID, you have to enter project name. Let's name this project as Java tutorial, and group ID will be used for creating a package. So that you can see here, it comes under let's name this as pack 1. So just give some readable name in the group ID, and artifact ID is your project name. Click on finish. So here at the bottom you can see that it started building the Maven project. So as of now, no need to worry about why we are creating a Maven project. Okay, so in the upcoming video we will see what is the use of Maven project and why we are using a Maven project instead of a simple Java project. There is a reason behind that. So just focus on learning variables as part of this video, so we'll concentrate on that. So this will take few seconds, maybe few minutes, because this is the very first time the project is created. So it will take few minutes to create the project. So that's it. It almost created. The project is almost created. Let's wait for 100%. That's it. So just go to src-test-java, and inside this package, this icon, we call it as a package. You can see add test.java. So just double click this one and it will show some codes. No need to worry about that. Just do a right click and delete the Java file. Now we'll create a new class file. Click on this package, do a right click, new, and class. So whenever you're creating a new class, it should always start with an uppercase. So I'll create a class called variable, and check this one, public static void main, so that it will have a main method inside your class. So now this class is successfully created with main method. So let's see how to define a variable. So variable should always begins with data types. So if you are going to allocate some value, then it should fall under some data type. Let's say I'm going to deal with the numbers, so I'm using a data type integer followed by a variable name. So it's always a good practice to start the variable name with alphabets, that 2 with a small case, and followed by a meaningful name. Let's say my num1. So this is my number 1. Okay, so I just declare a variable called my num1, and I haven't assigned any value to that. I'm using a sysout. You can use control and space. The shortcut is not working, so yeah, it's working. So you can, if you just type sysout and use control plus space simultaneously, it will show you the system.out.println, and here you can print this my num1 value. So it shows an unresolved compilation program because the local variable my num may not have been initialized, which means we are not assigning any value to this variable. So when we are declaring a variable, we should assign a value to it. But if you are declaring an instance variable, it has some default value. For example, most of the numerical data type, let's say int, float, double, those have a default value of 0, and if you take about a string, it has a null string associated with it. So you no need to initialize an instance variable, but when it comes at a local variable, which this is local variable because this is a method and we are declaring variable inside the method, so this is called as a local variable. So when you are declaring a local variable, you need to give, or you need to initialize a value, let's say 100. So now this error is gone, and you can run this one. Just click on this one. You can see that it printed a value num, and you cannot use static inside a method name, and static can be used only after the class name before the main method. So I've used static keyword followed by a data type and followed by a variable name. So I'm just trying to print the value of the variable. So as I said, Instance variable, you don't need to worry about the initialization because it has a default value which will get initialized, and this static variable have a value 0 because I haven't initialized that. Once I initialize the value with a 10, you can see that it have the value 10 inside the static. There is not much difference between a static and instance variable when you are looking at this class alone, but when you are creating a new class and you are trying to access the variable, then you will get to know the basic difference between a static and instance variable that we will discuss very shortly. As of now, just understand that static variable memory will be created only for one time. So this is an instance variable, and it doesn't allow instance variable inside the main method because we cannot use instance variable in the main method class. So the instance variable will also work in the same way. So, and one more thing is we can declare a float data type. Let's say my num2 equal to, as I said, in the float data type you can print up to in the float data type. Where is float data type? You can print up to 6 to 7 decimal digit. So after a decimal point you can add 6 to 7 decimal digit. So it's throwing an error that it cannot convert double to float because it recognizes this as a double, because it seems like the decimal digit doesn't comes under the float. So it's asking for typecasting. So in order to change the variable from float to double, you can click on this one, change type my num2 to double. So automatically the data type changed to double, and here you can add how many decimal digits you want, because as I said, double is a very high precision and can save up to 15 significant decimal digits. So we'll print that. So we haven't used the println, that's why it's not showing num2, my num2. Now let's print this one. So you can see that this one is successfully printed. So once you stop initializing and assign a value to the variable, you can do an operation. Like you can perform an arithmetic operation. You can add, subtract, or multiply or divide this number. That mainly depending upon the operators. So we have a special video specially dedicated to operators. So as of now we'll see how to do a simple operations on variable. So I'm just adding a number 90 and printing the value. So it should print 190 because I've added 90 to my one variable. So you can see that it successfully printed 190. So this is how you can use variables in your programming. So as a Selenium aspirant or as a Selenium tester, most commonly you will use int and double. So int is mainly used for iteration. When you're dealing with for loop, you will do int, and is double is taking care of decimal digits. Double, you will go for double only if you want to do a mathematical operation with decimal digits, and sometimes we will go with Boolean operation. So these are the three different data types that we most commonly used in automation framework. So just remember this int, double, and Boolean. So character and all, it's very rare scenario we will go with the character, and sometimes we will deal with strings. So I will create a new video for strings, especially dedicated to strings and what are the operations that we can perform on strings very shortly. So this video is especially for variables in Java. So if you like this video, give thumbs up. If you still have any doubts, just drop your doubts in the comment section. I'll reply back. And thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and keep supporting me. Thank you. Bye bye.